Well, welcome everyone to our second Career Academy session, which is Virtual Career Fair Prep. And so in this session, we're going to be covering everything that all of you need to know to prepare for the Virtual Career Fair next Wednesday, October 12th. And just to give you a little bit of background on Career Academy. So this is a series of 5 workshops that is designed to help keep you on track in your career. If you complete 3 of 5 sessions, you'll be eligible for a digital badge, and you'll be entered to win a grand prize of a brand new iPad from a raffle. In order to count your attendance towards the badge and raffle entry, we're going to ask you to submit a quiz at the end of the session that we'll link in the chat. And we'll give you a QR code for that too, since some of you find that a little easier. And if you're watching this recording, there's going to be a link to that quiz on our website, so just FYI. And my name is Samantha Karpoloff. I am an associate director at our Dobbs Ferry campus, and I work with the business and accounting career community. Been at Mercy for almost 3 years. And I have a couple colleagues with me who I'll let introduce themselves as well. So Sarah, if you'd like to go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Shepard. I'm the Director of Employer Relations here at Mercy. My role is to connect you as students with employers who want to hire you. And a great way we can do that is through a virtual career fair. Also this semester, in addition to the virtual career fair, we have an in-person career fair in November. So you should definitely attend both because they're different employers for both fairs. Galen?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Galen Ronde. I am the Associate Director for Employer Relations. So I do support Sarah in aligning you all with opportunities with employers. Typically, I work with the healthcare and wellness career community, as well as human services, law, government, and education students. I hope you enjoy this session today.
Wonderful. I'm so excited to be here presenting both of them and to chat with all of you about being prepared for next Wednesday. We've done a virtual career fair before, and this will be another one on our team, so we're looking forward to hosting it. I'll just get started by talking about what we're going to be covering specifically today. We're going to start with chatting about updating your resume. Then we'll go into a little bit on researching companies so you're prepared with information about them and sound like you know what you're talking about when we get in front of employers next week. And then creating your schedule, that's a really key part of a virtual fair, is having that schedule made so that you have those one-on-one and group sessions set with employers beforehand. We'll do a little walkthrough of how that works in Handshake. We have a video to share. And then we'll do an exercise with elevator pitches, which should be pretty fun. And we'll give some tips for the fair and professional etiquette, as well as talking about staying organized and sending thank you emails. So a lot of stuff to do. But we'll give you opportunities to participate throughout. And of course, if you have questions, you can feel free to put those in the chat. Alrighty. Okay, so resumes are up first. And a lot of you may have a resume already, which is great. If not, make sure to visit our website, career.mercy.edu, to look for resources on how to create that resume. But what you want to keep in mind is that it should be clear, concise, and up to date, and you're going to want to have that uploaded in Handshake and approved before the day of the fair. Employers will be taking a look at that resume, or could potentially, after the fair, after they speak with you at the end of the fair experience. So you're going to want to make sure that that's there to put your best foot forward and showcase what your qualifications and experience is for them to see. And in some cases, that resume can serve as kind of like a longer summary of your experience, because if you're in a one-on-one session with a recruiter, you have about 10 minutes to talk with them, and you probably don't have time to cover everything. So that's good to have that set up on Handshake so they can go in and dig a little bit more and find out about you and potentially invite you to an interview from there. Another key step in this is to have it set to visible on profile, so that way that they can actually see that resume. Because if you upload it, it's approved. Those are important steps, but then clicking visible on profile, that option within your document section, is going to allow them to see it. Alrighty, Galen, you're up.
Yes, all right. Researching companies and opportunities. During our career fair, it will be important, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the number of employers and opportunities present. Also, given the new virtual accommodations, there are many factors that can reasonably catch you off guard. Therefore, it is important to prepare yourselves beforehand to have the best experience possible. First, it would be highly suggested to register for the fair in advance so you can see who's attending. We will have a slide later on to go through virtual fair registration as well as scheduling your one-on-one sessions with employers. All students, you will have access to a directory of employers based on majors and career communities. Please take a look at this beforehand, but after registering for the fair, please do that first, okay? And the good news is we will be emailing all the attendees here first with that document. So next, as you are looking over the employer list, decide who you would like to meet with. This can be based on the type of job, job responsibilities, etc. You may not have time to speak with all of the employers listed, but if you do, it would be best to maximize your time with each of them by highlighting a few talking points. So these points can include your elevator pitch, which we will go over, current skills, and related work history, things like that. After you have found a few employers of interest, familiarize yourself with them. That would be the next step. Visit their website and/or LinkedIn profile. Look at the company's About Us page. It will often have a description of the company's mission and values, and there will also maybe some testimonials from current employees and former employees, which can be a great way to learn about company culture firsthand. Okay, in addition to company culture, this research is intended to inform you of open positions, the location of the company, is it accessible to you by car, and even if in the event that you don't have one, salary and benefits. And then it will also help highlight and align your skills that would match their openings. Please look at Glassdoor and Indeed.com as company reviews. Employees do tend to put those there. Employers are impressed by applicant knowledge at first contact. Therefore, you can start formulating a few questions that you may have for employers that are important to you based on your research. All right.
That was so thorough, Galen. I learned a lot. That was really great. Thank you for that. And so in terms
Sure.
of meeting with employers, creating your schedule, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be what you want to do, again, in advance of the fair. So before fair day, before 1 p.m. next Wednesday. Registering is your first step, but then going in and scheduling the one-on-one group sessions that you want to attend with employers. You can see a link to that once you've registered. That will, that option will appear. And again, that video we're about to show will show you exactly how to do this in Handshake. And the one-on-one and group session options, there's benefits to both. The group sessions are kind of styled as more of a presentation. A recruiter or a couple of recruiters from a company will be probably sharing a formal presentation about their openings and about their company culture and who they are and what they do. And you'll be in a more of a group style kind of conversation or session with other students. And then a one-on-one session is more of kind of interview style, but again, those are really short. Those tend to be like 10 minutes long. The group sessions are more like 30 minutes. And in a one-on-one session, you have the opportunity to really sell yourself in that short period of time to a recruiter you're speaking with, and come prepared with some specific questions to ask them about the roles they have open, their company. Be ready to give your elevator pitch, which we'll practice shortly. And that's just kind of an overview of the different types of sessions that there are. You want to make sure to add each scheduled meeting to your own personal calendar too. So if you use a planner or if you use Outlook or any other kind of calendar app, make sure that you register, sign up, but then put them on however you keep yourself organized on your schedule, so you don't miss those sessions, because not attending, especially a one-on-one, is essentially equivalent to not showing up for an interview. So you want to make sure you make a good impression and remember when you schedule your sessions for. All righty. So with that in mind, I'm going to take everybody to YouTube. Give me a second to pull up that video. All right, so this is a short walkthrough of how to register for the fair, which seems like a lot of you have done already. and then how you sign up for sessions, how you can see your scheduled sessions, and what it looks like to be in one of those sessions. Okay. Give me a second to play.
Everyone, today we're going to show you how
Can we hear that, hopefully?
Yes,
Okay,
we
good.
got sound. Thank you.
to sign up for sessions for the upcoming career fair. As you can see, I'm already signed in the Handshake. So what you're going to want to go to day of is you're going to click on events, career fair. This will be the career fair you do click on, but today we're going to show you for our test fair. Now, we do have to schedule sessions, so we're going to click on available sessions. And we're going to schedule a one-on-one. And we'll take this time and we will confirm with the employer. Now you can see on the right side of the screen, it says your sessions happening now. So I'm going to shut off my camera so we can see what it looks like when we log in. There I am again. Now I can test my video, make sure that's working. I'm currently using my audio through Zoom, but you would want to make sure your audio is working. If you get up to this part and it isn't working, I do recommend checking your browser. I highly recommend to use Chrome. If you don't have Chrome as an option, Firefox is the second best bet. Do not use Internet Explorer. It's not going to work. So now we're going to click join now. And here we are. Now we're on our one-on-one session with our employer.
Yes, hi, thank you.
If you're a professional woman whose career
Well, that's fun. I don't know if the video is over or not.
The video is over.
Okay,
yes,
great.
thankfully, because I don't like watching videos of myself.
Yeah, we got to see Sarah twice here in one Zoom.
The Matrix.
Okay, hopefully that was helpful for everybody to see. And that video, by the way, if you need to have a refresher, is on our YouTube channel. So it's Mercy College Career Team, I believe. You can scroll through our video kind of history and see where that's uploaded to watch it again. I'm gonna go back to our presentation.
It's also available. We're emailing it out to students, so you will get that prep video via email with all the other resources.
Beautiful.
I do hope that was helpful. I find it helpful to kind of see how it looks and feels, and just take away that unknown for you.
Definitely, and I just wanted to point out in that walkthrough video, the team member who used to be on our team pointed out that the test fair he was using, there was a fair underneath that said Spring 2021. So this is just an old video. The fair that you're going to be looking to register for, if you haven't already, is titled Mercy College, I believe, Virtual Career Fair. And that's the one that you want to click. So you won't find anything from Spring 2021 in there, just FYI. All righty, Sarah.
All right, thank you, Sam. So elevator pitch. First, I'm going to explain what the elevator pitch is, what it consists of, why you want one. And then we'll pause the recording and ask you to all do an activity of writing your elevator pitch. And then for those of you who are brave enough to practice with us. So an elevator pitch, the idea behind it is you get into an elevator and behind you walks in the CEO of the company that you really, really want to work for. So you have about 30 seconds to kind of sell yourself. You don't really have time to think about it. This is kind of something you want to keep in your back pocket at any time, just to be able to introduce yourself, summarize yourself professionally, and kind of share some of your goals with an employer. This is basically what you're going to use in the beginning of any meeting you have with an employer. And you can also tweak it depending on who you're speaking to. So your elevator pitch should include your name, It should include your class level and your major at Mercy College. Your short-term or long-term career goal, everyone's different, so it really depends on you as a person. And then anything that you've done that can support your career goal. So whether that be some stuff you did with volunteering, an internship, work experience, or even academic projects if you don't have any of those other experiences. So really it's unique to you, and it's just you highlighting the things that make you great. So I think the next slide is a few examples, I believe. Oops.
Well, I skipped a far ahead there. There's a sneak peek. Hold on a second.
I believe I have
Okay,
examples.
there we go. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to give you guys some examples, and again, everyone's is going to be different. So don't think, don't worry about someone else having more experience than you. So first example, my name is Sarah. I'm a senior at Mercy College, majoring in behavioral science. My goal is to work in social service with children in foster care. I enjoy helping people and have volunteered at a food pantry for the past 5 years. So very specific on majors, class level, what your goal is, and then what have you done to support that. So this is kind of just an easy formula to create your elevator pitch. Another example is my name is Sarah again. I'm a junior at Mercy College majoring in nursing. I'm interested in working with the geriatric population, and I have personal experience caring for my grandmother for the past several years. This is a good example of someone without any experience, work experience or internship experience. They're saying, a personal experience, that's perfectly acceptable as well. So we're going to pause the recording.
All righty. Well, we got some practicing in, and we'll see Ike's elevator pitch in here momentarily, I imagine, but I'll move ahead for now. Okay, some tips for preparing and being fair ready, as well as professional etiquette. So a few things to keep in mind, because this is a virtual space. Have to kind of think a little differently about being, professional and being able to focus on your conversations with employers. One thing to keep in mind is how you dress. So even though you're not going to be traveling to meet with employers in person, it's still important to dress professionally and look well groomed for your video meetings. I always recommend to students I meet with in a virtual interview and a virtual fair, dress head to toe how you would. And for me, that is particularly helpful because it puts me in the right mindset to bring my best. But also, and it might not necessarily happen at the fair, sometimes I've heard that employers may ask you to stand up. So if that's the case, you want to be ready with your full outfit. And if anybody needs professional attire, you can always email our team at that email address that Sarah shared earlier, cpd@mercy.edu. And we have a career closet with professional clothes that you can access. So if anybody needs that, feel free to email us. Oh, I see that Ike dropped his pitch in the chat. Should we do that now?
It's not really complete, but just
That's okay, don't worry.
all right.
We don't need perfection. I'm going to pause the recording now.
All right, so back to some tips for preparing. So we covered professional attire, dressing appropriately. And then another tip is to remember to check the space around you. So making sure that you're in a comfortable, distraction-free, quiet environment. Sometimes that might mean that you need to close the door or just remind people that you live with that you're going to be in essentially interviews or a career fair online. So you need to keep things quiet so that you don't have any distractions and anything to distract you from when you're giving your elevator pitch or chatting with a recruiter. I do recommend turning your camera on. It allows you to bring your best, shows an employer that you are professional, that you're dressed appropriately, that you're ready to chat with them. And I think that it lets that face-to-face interaction take place, even though you're in an online setting and not in person. We actually do have a full prep tips sheet for virtual interviewing on our website too. So at career.mercy.edu, you can go there, and I believe it's under tips for professional success, under next steps, and you can find that cheat sheet. It goes into some of the things I'm talking about here in a little more depth and gives some helpful reminders. And the last step is to make sure that you have a strong internet connection and that your audio and video are working properly. Super important, right, to test that before you get into that group or one-on-one session to ensure that you can be heard and understood from whoever you're meeting with on the other side there. And my last bullet point is being cut off in my slide. Let me see. Yes, testing your video and handshake before your first meeting. So sometimes that might mean that you should open a Zoom room, like open Zoom on your laptop and make sure that your internet connection is strong, that you are coming through to maybe you can test it out with someone on the other side. You can ask like your roommate or family member to make sure they can hear you okay and see you. That would be a good step to take to make sure, again, to bring your best when your first meeting with a recruiter comes along. There's a helpful website for testing your internet called speedtest. I believe it's .com. I think it's speedtest.com. And you can test your upload and download speed of the internet wherever you are through that website. And remember just to get into a Zoom room or test in whatever way makes sense for you, your technology in advance of that first meeting, maybe the day before, I would say even like a few minutes before, just to make sure that you know how it works for that day. Speedtest.net. Thank you, Samir. Thank you for that.
All righty, I'm up. All right, lastly, staying organized and sending thank you emails. It will be easiest to navigate the virtual fair as a student by creating a spreadsheet or a chart for notes, as you will be speaking with numerous employers. Especially employers within the same industry, it may be difficult to differentiate companies solely based on their current openings. Therefore, organizing your notes by prioritizing employers that you are most interested in or by the one-on-one sessions that you have scheduled will help you reflect on the fair and prepare for the next points of contact. Again, please make sure that you have looked at the fair attendees pamphlet prior to the fair to familiarize yourself with the participating companies. Organization in this way will enhance your fair experience by lifting the burden of collecting a bunch of business cards and deciphering who is who, as we have experienced in-person fairs. So virtual platforms will allow you to use a cheat sheet, so to speak, that you can reference repeatedly during and after the fair. Okay, make sure you are noting contact information during your one-on-one sessions. This will be helpful for your follow-up to the representatives after. These notes can include name, number, email, hiring timeline, positions, likes or dislikes, anything that can help you kind of remember who they are. The notes can be taken on your computer, on paper, or even recording on your phone may be helpful just to get everything down. Thanking your contacts via email for their time is extremely important. This will communicate your interest in the company and also will leave a memorable impression on employers. It's essential to reference your notes to differentiate and correspond appropriately. Always send a thank you email because sometimes it differentiates between getting the job and not. That's a very important tip, okay? If you can, include in your thank yous 2 to 3 takeaways from your interaction about the representative position or the company. And the thank yous don't need to be more than a simple email, but there are plenty of templates online, professional employer thank you notes if you need. Okay, if you're still interested in an employer after the fair and their future opportunities, I would advise connecting with them on LinkedIn. This is where you can always be aware of news about their company and additional employment opportunities that may arise. Lastly, I just want to put a plug. Remember, be courteous when interacting with employers and extending thank yous. In addition to representing yourself, you are also representing Mercy College. All of the organizations at the fair will be coming because they're interested in hiring Mercy students. And some employers who will be coming have hired Mercy alumni. So just enjoy the fair and your interaction with employers and let your positive attitude shine. Okay. Thank you.
I want to go to the fair now and be recruited. Thank you so much, Galen. That was great.
That was amazing, Galen. I also want to let you guys know during the fair, there will be like a little blue button at the top that says help room or something. That's where our team will be. So if you have any questions, need a little advice, you're not really sure who to meet with, or if you're having technical difficulties, feel free to join that Zoom room. That will be shown as a button in the fair in Handshake on the day of the fair.
Yes, I will be in that room, so see some of you there maybe. I'll be with a couple of colleagues there. We'll be able to help you with questions you might have. Speaking of questions, that's a great segue. It's time for your questions, if you have any, before we get to our last slide about our survey. So what do you guys want to know that we might have not addressed already? Other things that we didn't necessarily talk about or get to in detail?
How long will the one-on-ones usually last?
They're 10 minutes on the nose. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And
They're-
also,
One of the struggles is each session is 10 minutes and an employer can schedule like an hour of 10-minute sessions. There's unfortunately no time in between. So if you notice an employer is a little bit late, just sit tight because they might have gotten caught in a different session or having a little bit of technical difficulty. The 10 minutes starts to fly by so fast. So you want to make sure you make the most of it.
and also, how different is the setup, obviously being virtual, compared to the, I think there was going to be another in-person one in November I saw on the flyer.
Yeah,
So
there is.
What is the main difference between the two?
Basically, that one is virtual and one is in person. So the
So-
virtual one is launched through Handshake. You're sitting in a quiet place. You're meeting with employers. And the beauty of that is that you can schedule it ahead of time. So you know who you're going to talk to and at what time. But really your interactions are going to be the same. They're just going to be virtual. For the in-person one, you walk into the rotunda and there will be 25 tables, each table having a different organization. And you basically will give you the same list, you know, you'll have access to the company names and what they're recruiting for. But you walk into the rotunda and then you have to go up to the tables and shake hands and introduce yourself using that elevator pitch. So it's a little more spontaneous because you can't schedule time with the employer at the in-person. You're just waiting online to talk to them and then moving on to the next table. And the in-person one, employers often have little giveaways to get free pens and stress balls and things like that. But both have value in terms of learning about organizations and jobs and networking. And we tried to make it that it was a different group of employers coming to the in-person than the virtual. So this way you get more opportunities. So I'd say go to both.
Mhm.
We will be at both. I would hope so. We're
Perfect.
planning.
Thank you.
No problem.
The in-person ones at Dobbs are in the city,
That is in Dobbs Ferry. Yeah.
Dobbs.
And if you're coming, if you are a student on the Manhattan campus, we will reimburse your MTA fare. And if you're coming from the Bronx campus, we're going to have a shuttle or some sort of transportation for you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Mhm. We're in a very unique time right now where there are so many employers hiring, so many jobs. So definitely take advantage and meet people and see who's out there and see what kind of jobs and internships interest you. As scary as it can be.
Anybody else have questions? This is your time to ask us. We're right in front of you. 3 career team members.
There's a question in the
I
chat.
I have a quick question.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Greg. Sorry.
Let's say this isn't career fair related, but it's career related. Let's say that you reach out to one of these employers and they schedule an interview and you interview with them. And let's say that they ask you for a transcript of your grades. Should that be sent with the thank you letter, or should the thank you letter be sent right away and then you just send the transcripts when you can? Because I know that getting transcripts sometimes is not like the quickest thing because you have to order them and stuff. So
I have an answer for that one. Most of the time, if an employer is asking you for transcripts, they don't need an official copy. You can download at any time your unofficial transcripts from Mercy Connect. You go into student, it's actually very easy, and we'd be happy to help you with that. So you can attach it along with your thank you letter. I think that would be even more impressive to the employer.
and the thank you letter should be done like right after the interview, right?
Yes, but it doesn't have to be a full letter. Like it could just be a note, it was so nice to meet you. I loved hearing about this particular job, something along those lines. So it doesn't have to be like a formal 3-paragraph letter in any way, shape, or form.
And you also don't have to write right after. If you have other schedules booked, just go through all the interviews, just make a note of who you're speaking with. And then once the fair is over, then you can reach out and contact them.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Sure.
And
I just want to
did
get to the question in the chat.
Yeah.
Yes, it says, are there multiple recruiters for one session, like one moderator for each company?
It depends on the company. A lot of times, so it's a mixed bag. So I'm sorry. Some employers only have one representative coming and some employers have multiple. If it's a one-to-one session, you're only meeting with one person. And if it's a group session, you might be meeting with several people. That's more of a presentation style, but that depends on the employer. So just know that if you did sign up for a one-to-one, that means it's just you and that one person.
Of course. And this could be helpful in your research. You may encounter some representatives that will be here that might help you navigate who you want to meet with, things like that.
If I could give a little advice in here, I would sign up for the sessions after like 1:30, because usually the first half hour, everybody's trying to figure out how everything works. So including the employers. So this way they'll know what they're doing by that time.
We have no class on Wednesday, right? The ones at
Right,
the
it's,
okay.
I think it's faculty seminar day, I believe.
Okay, cool.
That's a great point. There's no class. That was intentional.
Yes.
I was looking at the meeting times. I was like, man, I have calculus. I can't attend.
Career fair sounds a lot better than calculus.
I agree.
I'm gonna stop the recording.